Freddie, thank you for joining me today. Why don't you introduce yourself a little bit?
Sure. So I'm Freddie. I'm the guy that runs Chia Explorer. It was the first popular blockchain explorer for Chia. I released it last year in around March, I think, during the first wave of lockdowns for COVID. That's one of the reasons I had a lot of time to develop the site, because there was not much else I could really do.
Were you asked to develop this site, or was it just out of your own curiosity that you wanted to build something for Chia?
It was my own curiosity. So I read the green paper and most of it went completely over my head. I didn't understand it at all. But I know from my own experience that jumping into code, because I'm a software developer, I can start to understand things a bit better just by reading the code. And so it was kind of partly a learning experience for me to learn how it all works by looking at the blockchain and building an explorer for it.
Okay, so your background is a programmer.
Yes.
Okay, so did someone from Chia reached out to you? Like, how did you get involved in that aspect of it?
They did not reach out to me. So when I first got interested in Chia, I built one of the building blocks behind Chia Explorer, which is an RPC client in TypeScript. And I remember I posted a link to that in Keybase. And I remember that Gene Hoffman, president of Chia, followed me on GitHub. And I was like, oh my God, the president is following me. Then I looked at his history on GitHub, and he's actually a developer, and he's doing C++ and Python and everything. So he's a pretty crazy guy.
Multi-talented. Yes, yes. So he's running the business and also a programmer himself. Okay. So were you getting compensated? Like, were you getting any kind of anything in return for all the work that you've been putting into Chia Explorer?
No. So the first year, completely spending my own money on it, buying a domain name, paying for hosting and so on. There came a point where I applied for a kind of accelerator thing with AWS where you get some credits. I've already blown through the first round of credits and I got a kind of upgrade. So I've got a few more now, but that will run out again soon.
But you do know why originally, I think you commented on my video about Chia Explorer. I was commenting about it and you came out and you said you developed it. Now, the one reason why I thought it had association with the Chia network was because it was in the GUI. There's a link in the GUI that references back to Chia Explorer. And so in my mind is if they're referencing it, that there's association. So that's why I thought that there was, it was together, that you were another developer for the Chia network, but you're not.
I'm not a developer for Chia network. And I didn't even know about that link for a very long time because during beta, I pretty much didn't even use the wallet at all. Because I just used the RPCs. So I experienced the entire thing just as JSON. I didn't really see the UI much. So I found out very late that I even had a link in the wallet.
Okay. Yeah, because when I first got myself involved in Chia, that's how I saw it, and that's how I put the association. So I mean, I don't think I was wrong for doing that, but but okay.
It's made by an open source developer in there, but yeah, maybe that's not clear enough.
Right. So yeah, usually I mean for something like that, but okay. So let me just go to explain. So all this information, is this being fed to you in order for you to build out this site? Because I mean, to the average person like myself, I wouldn't even know where to begin to even gather that information. So obviously there's something feeding you this, right?
Yeah, so there's the easy way of doing it, which is just to call the RPCs directly, and anybody could build a blockchain explorer like that pretty quickly. The problem with that, if you do that on the internet and thousands of people are using it.
I like how modest you are when you say that, anyone can build it, but not really.
But yeah, if you do it just like that, and thousands of people are using it at the same time, you're going to have a bad time because it uses an SQL-like database. It's not designed for that kind of load. So I basically read the data out of the RPCs, import it into another database, which is a document DB cluster. It's actually a cluster of databases.
So as you're developing this site, obviously you have every intentions to be involved with Chia. So did you set up your own infrastructure to farm and plot and all this, or were you just mainly building out Chia Explorer?
I was mainly building Chia Explorer. I only farmed a little bit during beta, mainly just to learn about that process so that I actually understood what I was building, because I realized most of the people using the site are farmers, so I should get some experience with that to understand.
Right. That's interesting that you actually were building so your main focus was Chia Explorer, not so much into getting into plotting and farming the actual crypto.
Yes, although even Chia Explorer wasn't really my goal. Like I wanted to build something on top of Chia, and it just turned
Okay.
out that Chia Explorer became popular, so I continued to do it and try to
So
improve it
so
over time.
obviously, as of right now, you're still the sole individual that is updating. Is there anyone else that's currently helping
Yeah, so
you?
it is almost entirely myself. I've had a little bit of help from some people just because there have been times where it's just so much work. I did like hire a developer in India to build a design, and that
Right.
kind of failed. Like in the end, I didn't like it, so that was just a waste of money. But it's just one of those things. But yeah, I've got some help. So I've partnered with a pool, and there are some people, they've actually got a team, and I'm getting some help from them sometimes as well.
Okay. So during that process of you learning and trying to get an understanding of the plotting and farming, did you win any Chias? Did you get anything?
I may or may not. I won't disclose that. What I will say is,
okay,
I have sometimes linked a donation address on Chia Explorer, and I'm not going to hide that. Like I only use one donation address; it's completely public.
I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna take that as
Chia on it.
Right. I'm gonna take that as you have a lot. Okay. But all right. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Well, that obviously there has to be some type of incentive for you to keep on going and building on top of this Chia Explorer, right? I mean, that's it has to be a reason, not so much of you just constantly taking money out of your own pocket to build, right? I mean,
it's got advertising now, so it does cover its costs.
Right. I do see that. I do see that there's advertising for like a plotting company, like to buy plots. Is that no relation to yourself, right? So someone is actually paying advertisement.
Yeah, there's no relation to myself, and I don't deal with the ads. Actually, there's a company that's doing all the advertising for me. So there's an advertising page on Chia Explorer, and you have to speak to these other people to actually arrange the advertising.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. And then you also have an association with PooChia now.
Yes.
How does that work? How does out of all these different pools that I've noticed that are being developed and going into supposedly when the protocol comes out, why PooChia? Is there any specific reason?
Yeah, PooChia have got a team of developers. They're experienced with blockchain technology. They have AWS architects. They've got Chinese language, Japanese language. They have an experienced team, and they have plans beyond just the pool as well going into the future.
Okay. All right. So going forward, would it be possible that Chia Explorer collaborates with other pools, or is just exclusively with PooChia?
Right now it's exclusive with PooChia, and I don't see that changing. Yeah.
Got it. All right. So I'm just gonna go right here. So I because you're so involved with Chia and the development of this Chia Explorer, how does that what is your opinion on the whole IPO when Chia goes IPO? Would you be focusing on monitoring the IPO prices as well on top of Chia Explorer? Like would that be implemented into Chia Explorer? And would there be any relationship to it?
I would like to have at least a chart just to show the price, but I'm not going to try and compete with financial sites
like
show
Yahoo
and
yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to compete with that. It's more just adding additional information there.
Understood.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So what is your projected long-term goal with Chia? Like what is your forecast? I know you started early with the whole in the testnet time frame, and you've built it out to where it is now. Is it just kind of just populating the information on its own that it's just grabbing, or you're constantly enhancing the website now?
I'm constantly adding features, and I'm trying to reduce the costs of things because it's kind of crazy. I didn't need to reduce the cost because of the AWS credits, because it was essentially free because of that, but they will run out, and then I need to actually start paying for it.
So is this website not hosted like an offering of hosting being hosted by Chia themselves? Like where did they allocate an IP address or a server for you to actually host this out of, or no?
No, it's entirely my own account.
All your own. Wow. Yeah. I'm actually really impressed of that part still, because that I honestly thought that the association that someone built this, that Chia would already have taken it in as theirs. Has that been?
If they want to use the free farm, that would be cool. But
okay.
Yeah, I don't. So I'm not aware of anything like
that.
So
like you said, you outsourced it at one time. You weren't satisfied with the work. So now you're kind of reverting back to just solo taking care of the entire website, right?
Yeah, right now I need to focus on improving the quality of the site that's up there, because there have been little bugs and problems that crop up all the time, right, mainly because of the amount of data. That's, the blockchain's constantly getting bigger.
Do you hold another job somewhere else besides this? This can't be obviously not your main focus, right? I mean, but you're saying this takes a lot of time from you. So how do you manage that?
So last year, mainly because of the lockdowns and everything, I used pretty much my entire holiday allowance. In the UK, we get like 25 days holiday. I used all of that to build the site, as well as evenings and like weekends and public holidays and all of that. My plan is not to do that this year, because I don't want to do that.
Yeah, I can't see that being very economical if you were to continue to do that. So obviously, has donations been pouring in regards to, because you have a receive wallet address there? Has people been donating, not so much just Chia coins, right? Because it's hard enough people like us trying to get Chia coins. So are they donating other cryptocurrencies to you?
No, I didn't even ask for other cryptocurrencies.
Just XCH.
Basically, I think the last I checked was 2.3 XCH or something, which is, it's okay.
That's a decent amount.
I'm not going to complain.
So what do you think about, because I want to kind of pick your brain. I know you have more information than most people in regards to Chia itself. So what do you think about the current price, from where it started to what I think today it went back up to in the 500, but it went below 500 today, and all within 24 hours. What are your thoughts about that? Holding on to XCHs.
Yeah, so right now we're in a period of extremely high inflation, because every few weeks or every few months the supply is going to double. That will slow down over time, but yeah, we're in high inflation and there's not that much demand. There's no reason to hold it other than speculating that it's going to go up. Like, there's no applications that people are using.
So. Right, and you've been since day one with the whole network space, from practically zero to what it is now. And I don't know, I'm going to just bring this up because more recently, as of yesterday, or it's been around the max plotter, and people are able to plot within less than an hour. What are your thoughts on that? Like, how is that going to affect Chia itself?
Yeah, it looks interesting. I think there was a discussion on GitHub where Bram, potentially they're going to merge it into the official blotter, which is pretty cool. I don't think there's any risk to the security of the network. I think that it's just an improvement, but it's possibly an improvement that they didn't expect. But so far, big improvement doesn't seem like it's causing a problem.
Right. Well, for now, right? Because there were talks about eliminating K32s if it becomes too, like, if they are able to plot it too fast, right?
I haven't seen any official word that they're going to actually do that, though.
Yeah, it wasn't really official wording or a document that was printed out, but I think it was in one of the Gene Hoffman YouTubes where a discussion was set, like, if it ever reaches that point, it'll become obsolete, which kind of sucks, right?
It changed at some point. The old consensus, I call it the old consensus, is the current, since release is the current consensus, but the new consensus doesn't have the same problem, or potentially has the same problem, but it's a lot more difficult to reach that situation.
Right. Okay. So yeah, I mean, I had a lot of questions in regards to Chia Explorer. Like, that was pretty much the gist of it. Like, I had no idea it was individual. I thought it was Chia themselves with their whole team building out this, but you're telling me you've been doing this all by yourself for all this time. So, like, what are your thoughts on, and because you have the top pools, but you had top pools out publicly and addresses with top pools prior to all this official pool protocol. So where did that come from? How did that come about?
Yeah, so currently people are in a self pool, or the official way is to be in a self pool. But that's actually not going to be, that's not going to work. The current version of Chia Explorer, what it's displaying, will not work when it moves over to the new way, because it's using a completely different part of the blockchain. So I'm going to have to update the site to show that. that's also kind of why the unofficial pools like HPool, they don't look big inside the pool section of the site because they're not actually a pool in that kind of sense. It's a centralization of the rewards to one of their addresses,
Right.
which some people think means they're going to 51% attack the network, which it doesn't mean that. Yeah, they might get 70% of all the coins, of all the rewards. That doesn't mean they have power over 70% of the network. It's just the points going to them.
Okay. Now, like when do they have? I don't know if Chia has like off the camera kind of huddles. Are you part of that as well, or are you not involved in any of the team discussions?
I have not been involved in any of those. I've been on one of the Zooms. I think I joined as like a panelist for like 10 minutes or something. It was similar to now. It's like right now it's 11:30 at night. I did that one at like 2 a.m. or something. So because of the time zone difference.
Okay, so I really have to like I'm trying to grasp how you're willing to put all this effort into it, and obviously you're not part of Chia, but so I have to ask, like, how long do you think you would keep up with maintaining the site, the ChiaExplorer.com?
So right now it's kind of doing okay. It's more than covering the costs, so there's an incentive to do that. And I would say running a site or running any kind of service or product around Chia, I think will be more profitable than farming. I think so that's always been the kind of eventual plan.
I have to ask you this, all right, because there was some legal issues with Chia having other websites using the word Chia in it. How did you get away with that and not having a attorney contact you in regards to that? How did that?
I didn't even have an attorney contact me. I had people on the board of Chia contact me, but that's before they had hired. That's before they actually hired the attorney. But I've also spoken to that as well. I've spoken to the VP of IP, intellectual property.
At Chia Networks, you mean, right?
Yeah, but it's fine. Like people think that there's this big issue. Like if you are creating some kind of scam coin, pretending to be Chia, doing bad things, yeah, they're going to come after you with the full force of the law as much as they can. If you're just a fan building a fan site, I think they're going to be pretty flexible, but you should follow the rules, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there has been a situation recently that this individual built a blog because they wanted to kind of just so they just wanted to keep track of their journey with Chris. So it was interesting for me to learn that Chia Explorer has been around since the beginning during testnet to now, and we had never heard about it having a legal issue with it, with the name. So that brought up some interesting correlation that maybe Chia Explorer is owned by Chia Networks, right? But you're saying it's not. But okay, all right, that makes a lot of sense. So I think a lot of the questions have been answered in regards to what I wanted to find out more about. And you're saying, so I have on my videos, I've been saying that I want to make this a long-term goal, right? I want to try and make it to 2025. I'm sitting on like 750 plots right now, solo farming, and I still have some space for, for the pooling when it comes out. Are you planning to, invest more into that aspect of it, the farming and the plotting once the pools come out, or are you just not even going to bother with that?
I'm not going to bother with that. And if anything, my advice, I guess, if I can give advice, is...
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So the farming, Bram and the rest of the team have always said that buying hardware to farm is not going to be profitable. In my opinion, if you were to build a tool or content, even your YouTube channel, this counts as something which is helping the Chia community.
Correct.
Anything like this, all of those tools, the Plotman and Chia Calculator, Chia Decentral, all of these projects, I would guess that almost all of them probably can earn more than they would if they'd invested into farming. Like they are potential business opportunities. And this is before even talking about Chia Lisp and building DeFi applications and all of that.
Right.
Building anything in the Chia ecosystem, you can become successful.
So you're saying
more than farming.
Okay, all right. So you're saying that individuals who contribute to GitHub, building out these third-party scripts, can potentially make more than if they were to farm on their own or farm in a pool?
Well, I guess it depends. If they already had 10 petabytes of space lying around, then sure, they can farm and they'll earn more.
Which most of us don't, right?
Yeah, especially if anyone with software development experience, you can build just some basic tools, some fairly simple things, easy wins that haven't been done for Chia. There are things that need to be done that haven't been done. If you do it, most likely you're going to get thousands of people using it and you're going to have some level of success.
Right. Okay, that's a very honest suggestion from you. That means a lot, actually, because considering the ins and out of from the beginning to end, and that definitely really helps. I think a lot of the viewers would take that to heart and kind of reconsider what they're doing with what they're trying to accomplish with Chia. But even with that, you're saying that you wouldn't be as beneficial farming on your own, even for the long term. Would you say that? I mean, considering that, the goal of Chia was to sit on these plots, and possibly 5 to 10 years from now, being generating the money. Because now I have to mention this, because the Chia calculator puts that sort of into our mindset when we put in how many plots we have. It estimates the time frame. Now, one thing I wanted to ask, and I totally forgot, do you have any association with Chia calculator? None.
No, although at some point they were polling some of my endpoints to get NetSpace. I don't know if they still do that or not, but they hit my API. There are a few of these tools out there that use the Chia Explorer API to do their thing. Yeah.
So you know of the developers of the Chia calculator. So you know association. You didn't feed anything into it. And what are your thoughts on the Chia calculator?
It's a fun tool.
Have you've used
it? Not financial advice, should we say? Yeah, I've used it. Yeah.
Okay, I don't know. I have to look again if there's a disclaimer that says use at your own risk or something.
I don't know if they do have that, but they should have that. Yeah.
Because obviously, I had my gripes with that as well, and people come back to me and say, have you even used the Chia calculator? Because you could estimate. I'm like, it's not accurate. There's no accuracy to it. So obviously, you're on the same page as I am, and without even you having to say that. But I want to, I guess this is, I definitely appreciate you coming here and joining me and doing this with me, because, it explains a lot. And I'm sure I would love to have you back on, maybe, a little further down the timeline of Chia, maybe when the pools come out, or maybe when it goes IPO, and we can have another talk and see where we stand, if you're still maintaining Chia Explorer at that time.
Yeah, that would be great. Thank you. It's been good.
But maybe a suggestion from me to you is, maybe you should just package this whole thing up and sell it off to the Chia network. Have you thought about that?
Well, I don't know if they want it. I think
really?
They want the community to build things out, right?
Well, I mean, I'm going to leave this off as this, right? Because the Chia Explorer is what practically made the transparency to what is out there right now, meaning what was pre-farmed, who's the biggest pool. Without this information, where's that transparency? Where will we have known about Chia network and XCHs and where it's going and who's getting it, right? What wallets, and how could we trace these coins without your website? That's what I'm saying, right? I mean,
I should be separated then, because otherwise there'd be a conflict of interest.
I guess. True. Okay, so we'll leave it at that. I want to, Freddie, I thank you so much for being here. I appreciate your time. I learned a lot even from this small conversation that we had. I'm sure if I have any other additional questions, I really appreciate it if you were able to just, we'll communicate going forward. And I want to thank you again.
Thank you. It's been great.
All right, Freddie. Take care. Have a good night.
See you.
All right. Bye.